Okay. What do you think men find more attractive? A woman that's introverted or extroverted? And I'm going to go around the panel on this one. Do you think men are more attracted to introverted or extroverted women?
I think it just depends on the person. I don't think it's men and women. It's just, for me, even a relationship is more of an equal partnership. So for me, I am quite opinionated. I'm opinionated and I can be quite assertive. And my boyfriend likes that about me.
Is that what he tells you?
That's what he tells me. That's why
Well,
he's
that
with
wasn't
me.
the question. The question was who do you think needs to be more introverted? Excuse me. Do you think men find introverted or extroverted women is more attractive?
The concept of a man that you have, probably than an introverted woman, I assume.
Okay.
If it's the traditional relationship, but I don't think that really works.
You don't think the traditional relationship works?
No,
worked for thousands of years.
I really do not think it's necessary.
Okay. What makes you think it's not necessary?
Because a relationship is an equal partnership. If I am the one that's assertive, if I can provide, if I earn the money, then it doesn't really matter what my boyfriend does.
Okay. Do you think most women have that mindset?
I know a lot of women that do, and I think it's just.
But do you think a majority of women have that mindset where they're okay being a breadwinner and taking care of their man?
I think it's unfair to disregard the women that do think that way or that are that way, and it's just unnecessary to put ourselves or like women in a box where they have to be quiet and timid and I don't know.
I didn't say I'm forcing them to be in that box or anything. I'm just simply
No,
asking
but you are putting them in that box.
No, I'm asking you a simple question. What do you think men find more attractive, introverted or extroverted women? That's all I asked.
Generally.
And then you went ahead and talked about yourself. I'm asking in general, and then if you want, answer the question generally, then you can speak about yourself more specifically.
Yeah, well, no, if I mean you and your audience, probably woman that's more timid and quiet and proper and, yeah, an introverted person.
Okay, and then you said, what did you say after that? You said that you think that it shouldn't be that way. You said it's unfair.
I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's unfair. It's if it works for people, sure, but it isn't the case for me, and I believe that there are a lot of people.
Because you said in a traditional relationship, that's how it is. Do you think? Wouldn't it be fair to say though that most women want a traditional relationship?
No, it's not fair to say that actually.
Why not?
Because I know a lot of women that don't, that are just like I am, that are outgoing.
Where are these
that
women
like
from?
To do stuff. From Europe.
From
friends.
Holland, right?
Yeah, from all over the world. I've traveled a lot, but
Okay.
and most of the people, at least I get along with, are, yeah, they do stuff themselves.
So you're basing it off of a sample size of people that you know that you're friends with that are from your part of the world, which Holland is an egalitarian, fairly liberal country, progressive.
I've traveled
a lot. Huh? And
I've traveled a lot around Europe. It's just, yeah.
Do you think Tunisia observes these values?
I know my boyfriend does.
Is that what he tells you?
Nope.
Yes, it is.
I think that's what he tells you to get what he wants, but that's fine.
Smart.
Yeah.
It's not a lot he
he's a
can
smart
get
guy.
from me.
Yeah. Okay. Very interesting. But I'm asking you, do you think a majority of women, if I lined up, let's say even in the United States, let's take a first world country like the United States, do you think a majority of women believe in this egalitarian system that you think that men and women should be under?
No.
Or do most women want a traditional relationship where they have a masculine man who's a leader? Which one?
I believe that they are almost forced to think that way or feel that way, that they should be more quiet and timid, because it's a lot of judgment from more conservative people, or that do want the traditional relationship, that feel the need to force them or put them in a box so that they would feel uncomfortable or not happy with themselves if they're not quiet and if they're not timid, if they're not proper and conservative.
I think it's the other way around.
Yeah?
I think if it's anything, it's you make fun of women that want to be moms, that want to stay at home, that want to raise a family. If she's not chasing a career, if she's not going to college, if she's not like believing in feminist ideals, they make fun of her.
No, but it's not really like that. I think that whatever works for a person, it works for them. It doesn't really matter. Whether you're a person that likes dealing with kids, that really enjoys cooking, being at home.
I would argue a majority of women want to be at home. They prefer to not enter the workforce. Most women enter the workforce because they have to, because maybe their man doesn't make enough money, inflation, etc. But if they could stay at home and maybe work from home, they prefer that overwhelmingly from going into a job every day or not having to work at all.
Sure. But I can't agree with that, because a lot of women that I know, and I know how I am.
But you do understand that what you know is a limited perspective of overall female thought process all over the United States and
And
all
the
of
same
first world
goes to you. I believe that you surround yourself with people that think the way that you do.
Ooh.
I'm speaking for a majority of women when I say that most women, if given the opportunity, would prefer to stay at home with their family over going into the workforce.
I'm actually curious.
I
If
know
they
you
do
want,
enter
but
the
what am
work-
I?
If they do enter the workforce, they're going to do it in a limited capacity where they might work part-time, they might do a job from home, they'll work from a laptop, but they would prefer to stay at home is my point. I'm not saying women don't want to work. I'm saying they want to work in a limited capacity where the man is the breadwinner. Do you want to be the breadwinner in your relationship, realistically speaking?
I don't mind.
So
You don't mind, but do you want to do it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, real quick, I'm curious. Do you want to be a breadwinner?
No, I don't.
Do you want to be a breadwinner?
I do.
Okay. Do you want to be?
No.
Do you want to be?
God, no.
So 3-2. So it seems like the majority wins, and they don't want to be. But ultimately,
But you don't have to say that it's the majority, because there's also the minority that really exists, and you're disregarding that.
Yeah, of
no,
course.
it
Always.
exists.
But we
but is it
preface all the
important?
questions with in general. Like that's how we preface most of the questions in general. Do you think most women want a traditional relationship? And you're saying, well, that's unfair. It shouldn't be that way. But well, that's not the question. The question is, do you think most women in general want a traditional relationship? I would argue yes. Most women want a leader. Most women want a guy that's masculine. Most women want a guy that's dominant. Most girls want a guy that's competent, that can lead them, that makes more money than them, etc. So it's like, I mean, it's just biology. It's not really, and that's kind of the problem with an egalitarian belief system that you kind of observe. It doesn't align with biology. Like women say that they want to be equal to a man, but when it comes to equality for real, they don't want to deal with equal consequences and equal responsibility. You guys want the benefits of equality while not necessarily dealing with the negatives of equality.
I do not see the negatives in equality.
You don't see negatives in equality?
No.
I mean, if you look at jobs that create infrastructure, you look at construction, you look at STEM, you look at engineering, you look at electricians, plumbers, etc. All these physically labor-intensive jobs, women don't enter these jobs.
No, there are a lot of women in the engineering, in mining even, everywhere.
A very small minority. Men control 90% plus of these industries.
That's because of the age-long patriarchy that's been going on. It's just still wearing
Patriarchy.
off of them.
You think we live in a patriarchy?
Not anymore, okay? But we've been there for a while.
I have a question for
I would
her.
argue, if anything, we live in more of a. Well, here's the thing: men are in leadership roles, but it's to a limited degree, right? Because if you look at, because when women try to sit here and say that, oh yeah, men have all the advantages, etc., they control the wealth. Well, yeah, that's true, but men also die at a higher rate. They're more likely to die from violence. They're most of the homeless people. They're most of the poverty. Like, even though there's men on one spectrum that are excellent, that are superior, there's a lot of men that are absolutely inferior. So we're on both ends of the spectrum, whether good or bad. But I've noticed that, feminist arguments tend to always look at the guys that are doing really good in the top 1%, but they don't look at all the guys that are absolute failures at the bottom.
But that goes the same for women, though.
Not really. Women tend to be more in the middle with everything.
I think that's your perception. And I'm
That's
never
the
going to agree
absolute
with
truth. The bell curve. If you look at geniuses that are the most geniuses are men, but most low IQ people are also men.
you. Yeah?
Yes, this is a fact. This is not my opinion.
Huh.
So men tend to operate on the extremes of the spectrum. So for every guy that's absolutely excellent, there's a bunch of guys that are losers.
Yeah, but there is every level of testosterone produced in a human body. So every person is really an individual. So I don't feel the need to generalize that. And if you're asking me a question that's based on the male or female role, then I feel like you're asking me a question and I should, give you an answer about.
Well,
how
I
it's definitely-
framed the question in a general sense.
I'm sorry.
And then you went and immediately made it about yourself, which is fine. I don't have an issue with that if you want to make it more individual, but you should give the general answer. Then you can go ahead and say, well, that doesn't apply to me because X, Y, Z. But that does not negate the fact that what I said is an objective fact in general. Just because you might not align with it doesn't mean that it's still not true. And you might represent a minority, which a lot of the times that minority could be statistically insignificant. I would argue most women absolutely don't want to be a breadwinner. Most women absolutely don't want to be the predominant breadwinner. Most women don't want to go to work every single day and work a hard manual labor job. And we have the evidence to prove it. If you look at a majority of the laborious jobs, who runs it? Men. Women don't want to do these jobs, and that's fine. But we're different. And I think the problem that a lot of women that believe in egalitarianism like you guys is you guys don't understand, you guys don't accept biological realities. You guys think I can do everything that a man can do, and the reality is you can't. You simply can't.
What is there that I can't do?
Well, in general, women are physically inferior to men. That's a fact. That's not my opinion. You can't run as fast as a man. You can't throw as fast, as hard as a man. You can't. You don't have the
to
physical
do that.
capacity to. Excuse me.
I don't have to do that in my everyday life.
Well, if you're going to work a physically manually labor job, you're going to need some ability to have physical strength, correct?
If you're working with men, you're going to have to keep up with the men. You're going to have to be on the same level as them.
Yes, but even the first question was based on leadership, and I feel like there are a lot of women that are creatives, that are really emotional,
Yeah.
and that can.
They're not saying that you can't do it. You possibly can, but in the long term, how long can you do it for? How long can you do it for before you like hit a wall?
And this is also another argument that a lot of liberals make, right? Just because someone is capable doesn't mean that it's optimal. It's two different things. So if I have 20,000 soldiers, one all female, one all male, who am I better off sending to fight?
To fight,
Yes.
probably a man.
Okay. So the women are capable of going to war too, right? But it's optimal to send the men to have the best chance. Same exact situation that she's saying. Like, I can have female workers in a certain field or whatever. Yeah, for sure they can do it. I'm not saying women can't do it. But what I am saying is that in general, men are going to be better because we just have, this isn't my opinion. This is an absolute biological fact. We have higher, stronger, more lung capacity, more muscle density, thicker bones. Our faces are designed to withstand more impact. Like, it's just in every physical regard, men are physically superior to women. And if they weren't, why would we have a WNBA? Why would we have female soccer? Why would we have female standards? Why is it that when guys decide to switch their genders, they go into female side, they absolutely destroy them despite the fact that they're on drugs? Think about that. I mean, does that not prove what I'm trying to say? Even though the crazy left is trying to say, oh yeah, go ahead and let them compete in female sports. They're destroying them because we are not the same.
No, I understand your point, and I know that people have different physical capabilities, but your question was more so directed towards leadership and assertiveness, and I feel like that.
But all of that plays in. See what I mean? Like, I went another step further, but like, leadership stems from biological superiority from a physical standpoint.
How? How is that true? No, I can be physically very capable, but I can be just unable to talk to people, unable to lead them towards success, unable to motivate them. It doesn't, zero correlation.
I agree. But here's the thing. A part of leadership is communication skills. It is competence.
Which is
it is the ability to be extroverted to a degree. It is being physically capable and dangerous. All of these things play into leadership.
The dangerous part isn't really necessary.
Really.
Yeah.
That's easy for you to say when you live in a safe first world country, but you absolutely need to be capable of danger. How are you going to think about it? The civilized world that we live in now, you do realize that it's civilized because there's dangerous people willing to enact violence to protect your safety.
I know.
If you get attacked, police officers showing up with weapons, correct? You're going to call 911 for more than likely men to show up with firearms to protect you from another individual who's perpetrating violence on you, correct?
Yes, but that's
If
not
the country's
necessarily the
invaded,
leader.
if the country's invaded by foreign invaders who have weapons, we have a military that is going to enact violence to protect your ability to be safe, correct?
But not the president. You know, the president, the
Yeah.
one that's actually leading.
He's the
this,
commander in chief.
Yes.
So
So
he
that can be also a woman. So I don't.